Knees and toes.
Does shoulders have to do with anything?
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil. Episode 410. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com, and look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. Coming up this week, Phil's article breaking down further the game that we're dreading talking to. I'm trying to drag this out. That'll be out on Tuesday. We got an interview covering Wings versus Bandits this coming week. That will be out on Wednesday. We got Power Rankings and Week 11 Pick'em out on Thursday. If you want to participate in the Pick'em this year, it'll be out on X on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Instagram on the story on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's only on the story for 24 hours. That's why it's not out on there on Monday. I don't want to repost it and have multiple people voting multiple times. You get one vote per platform. And Friday, we got Bandits versus Wings preview. On today's episode, we got Bandits reaction to whatever that was on Saturday. We got Week 10 recap around the league and Sabres' last two games. Let's dive into the Bandits game. Before the game even kicked off, on the radio broadcast, Chugger did say that we're a week or two away from Mitch DeSnoo getting back in the lineup. So that's some positive. That's about where the positives ends right there. Belter was activated on, Monday or Tuesday. He wasn't playing. So I don't understand the point in activating him if he wasn't even going to be in the lineup. I'm not saying that he would have played a big factor. I still think they lose if Zach Belter's in the lineup because it was an overall colossal failure. But I didn't understand that move whatsoever. If he's healthy enough to be activated, I don't know why he wasn't in the lineup. But that's a lineup decision, whatever. Again, I'm just trying to drag this on. Bandits versus Mammoth. Bandits lost 20-9. And I know we mentioned it. That was one of the questions before we did our predictions on when's the time to hit the panic button. So I'm conflicted here, even before we dive into like all the numbers and everything. Before we even dive into the game here, Phil, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in panic mode on that scale as of Sunday at 7:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Sorry, I was trying to see where they fell in playoffs. A 5 or a 6? I would say
That's
a 5 or a 6. If you want me to go over that a little bit, I can talk for a little bit here. It's really tough, and I think the tough thing for me right now is I was going around like what else happened around the league this past week and just looking at other teams. I'm like, oh, they like looking at Saskatchewan more than anybody. Obviously, they're at the top for a reason, but like I was looking at what they were doing, looking at their dominant victory, and I was like, oh, that's what it felt like with the Bandits all these years for so long. Like just having that brief moment of I forgot what that feels like made me feel bad about this team and where they are and my confidence level in them. Now, do I think they can right the ship, still have a chance to win a championship if they put it all together and make it all work? Yes. But with how they're playing right now, especially on the offense, we'll get into the defense, but especially on the offense, if no moves are made, the offense terrifies me right now. I think seeing how much of an impact Fraser and Cloutier made is kind of mind-blowing to me. I knew they were really, really good. I knew they were a massive part of this team. It was a huge talking point for the offseason. I knew all that information. I did not think the offense would fall this far from where they were. And yes, they've had big games, and early in the season they look good. They were putting up, double-digit goals multiple times, but now you're starting to see a little bit more of what they really look like, and it's not good, number one. And number two, their even strength ability is horrendous. And they just look like a shell of themselves. They don't look like they have any kind of system, which is I can't imagine is true with John Tavares behind the bench. I'm sure they have plenty of great plans in place, but whatever their plan is, it's not working. And the offense looks really bad. They just look really, really bad. They just don't look like they have an identity anymore. And can they find that? I think so. Do they need a new piece on that offense? I think so. I think that's where my panic button kind of is. Like, you need to inject a player into this offense, because if they roll with this the rest of the season, I just don't see it being enough to overtake a team like Saskatchewan or how Vancouver's playing or some of these other teams that seem like they might have passed Buffalo. I think if they don't do something, that's how it's going to stay.
Yeah, I started this game late, and then I caught back up just because I wanted to watch the end of the Sabres game. I had to watch that live. I didn't have to watch this game live. In the moment, I was at like a 7 or an 8. And then after the game, I settled down, thought everything through. I realized, okay, you still have Steve Dietrich as your GM. There is zero chance he's just going to let this season play out. There's going to be a move made. And I would not be completely shocked if there wasn't a move made by the next game versus Philly. I mean, you saw what happened with the defense. They bring in Mike McCannell. I mean, he's not afraid to make moves, and I do not expect him to I do not expect him to sit on his hands and wait for this team to figure it out. It's too important of a season because is Matt Vince going to be back next year? Is Paul Dawson going to be back next year? Is Kyle Buchanan? Like, all these players that are some of your core pieces, they're possibly playing their final season. You can't let this season fall to the wayside and miss the playoffs and waste the final year of these guys.
You have to push all your chips in this year again.
Exactly.
Like, I know that's what they've been doing for years now, but you got to do it again, especially, no offense to him, but Evan C. seems like he's a ways off from being your replacement. First game, horrible situation. Nothing was going right that game. I'm not putting everything on him by any means. I mean, the game was well lost, but even his performance, I'm not going to try to nitpick too much. It was his first game. He's very young, all that kind of stuff. But knowing that this might be your last year with Vince, like, you need to, I don't care what the future looks like. This might be your last really big championship window opportunity is this season. All these other teams have caught up to you. All these other teams are getting better. You look at a team like Colorado, they look really, really good. They have a lot of young pieces. They're going to be good for years. Like, this to me is it. Like, you got to push everything in. I don't care if you get rid of tons of first round picks to bring in some talent to make one final push. Like, this could be it for this team and this core. And again, like you said, if Vince is gone and some of those other veterans go, I think as scary as it is, you're looking at a rebuild again. And you don't want to mortgage the future, but a banner looks way, way better, even if you mortgage the future, than not having one.
Yeah, so I'm going to put my panic meter at a 3 right now, just based on the fact that I know Chugger's going to make a move. Will that move pay off? We'll find out. Like, it'll be determined if that move, whatever he does, plays through. And I will say that if they somehow lose to Philly this coming week, and to me, it's not about dropping to 3-5. It's you lost to Philly.
Yeah,
the panic mode's going to be up to 10. Like, it'll be full on. This boat sinking. The holes aren't being held together. But based on them making 5 straight finals, 3 straight championships, they've earned our patience in waiting for them to figure this out. Now, that rope is only so long based on the last 3 games that we've seen from this offense. There's a bye mixed in there. I was hoping that this bye would solve this issue because this is back-to-back weeks of the same, or back-to-back games of the same offense out there, and you're getting the same results of, they scored 9 goals in 3 straight games, but when you look at those games, how many of those goals were scored when the game was already out of reach? Right. You scored 2 versus Ottawa when you had 7 before that. You scored a couple versus Rochester when that game was out of hand, and what did you score? 4 in the fourth quarter? I'm sorry, 3 in the fourth quarter on a backup goalie. So really, you're averaging 7, 6, and then 6 in the last 3 games. The offense is not good. And I guess that's where we can kind of dive into this after. I wanted to get that out of the way before we even started this one. But Nanticoke, McKay, and Smith, 2 each. Robinson, Benesh, and Byrne with 1 each. Vince played of just about 27 and a half minutes, a tick more than that, making 21 to 32 saves. I felt so bad for him. He was getting hung out to dry so much. And then Evan C comes in, and the numbers to me don't look as bad as the performance was. And again, I'm fully with you. I am not going to harp on Evan C whatsoever. This was what we talked about when they traded Steve Orleman. This was the result. This is what we were worried about, of having to rely on a rookie, or not even a rookie, a third-year goalie who has yet to play a single second of NLL action.
Who's very young.
This was the best outcome where Matt Vince didn't get hurt and had to relieve him. Like, this is what to expect from a guy who has not seen a single second of NLL action. So I am not going to hold very much against him, even though he did not play well. Like, I can't do that, because that's an unfair position that the Bandits put him in. Like, it's that simple. Face-offs went to Colorado. The shots went to Colorado. Buffalo's power play is the only thing that kept them alive. They went 4 for 5. Colorado 3 for 5. It was 4-0 after 1. It was 6-0 going into the second. 12-4 at half. It was over then. And 17-6 after 3 quarters. Like, this, I'm not saying that Buffalo gave up, because you could tell that the effort was still getting put in. But they got rocked to sleep. Like, it was that simple. This Colorado was just dominating everything. Buffalo's offense couldn't even get into rhythm. Like, their first actual chance came. Where did I have it here somewhere?
You did.
Where is it? It's in the bed. 12-13 left in the first quarter is when the offense got their first shift. Their second shift came with 10:38, and both of those shots on those shifts were early in the shot clock. Like, it was an absolute train wreck of an offensive performance. On what I was hoping to see was nothing what I saw. Like, I was really hoping that this bye week could have been used, and should have been used, to bring these 7 main pieces together, and it just didn't feel like it. Like, McKay was playing out the back door a ton. Another reason why Zach Belter should have been in the lineup. It just felt like nothing was blending together. Like, the passes were missed. Everything was sloppy. They couldn't get inside, or unwilling to get inside. It seemed like a lot of it was get the ball to Dane Smith, and hopefully he can make something happen. Yep. Like, that's what the 5-on-5 felt like in this game.
Yeah, it was just gross. It was really ugly to watch. And the couple times they had good opportunities, Ward is a really, really good goalie, so he was able to.
They got goalied a bit too, but it didn't explain everything.
Yeah, it wasn't like they didn't challenge him nearly enough. I mean, they just, again, it doesn't look like they have an identity. They do not look like they know what their plan is when they go on offense. They pass it around, they look for I don't know what, and then take a shot from the outside and move on with their lives. Like you said, it's all up to Dane to make magic happen, it seems like. And even Burns still seems like a bit of a shell of himself. He looked a little bit better in this game as far as one-on-one and some of the things he was doing, but
he was calling his own shot a few times. But it 1 for 13 shooting ain't it?
Exactly. And again, and we said it before this game, in our preview, that you can't shoot outside on Dylan Ward. He's extremely good at outside shots because he goes to the top of the crease. He takes up so much of it, and he's been having an incredible season. So you had to find ways to get inside. I don't think they did that. The pick and roll game has evaporated to absolutely nothing. Like, that's like when they had those really good games, that was one of the big things that was working for them, was finding a way to slip Buchanan inside, then he'd get one-on-one. Or on the other side, it was McKay getting inside on one-on-ones, and that is just gone. I don't know what happened. To me, it looks like teams figured it out, and they haven't had a way to adjust to it yet because they don't have outside shooters. And this is no offense to Buchanan. I need him on this team, but he's not going to bully his way to find that open spot in the middle. Like, he's someone who sneaks around and then finds a soft spot in the defense, and it looks like defenses just aren't allowing that to happen. And then it's just all up to Dane to make something happen. Benesh got a goal, but he didn't look great. He still looks like he's trying to find his rhythm on this offense and in the season. I don't know. It was Nanticoke's, to me, his best game. Yes. I thought he looked good.
This back-to-back good weeks from him.
Yeah. As much as we're harping on the entire offense for the most part, I thought Nanticoke did look like a bright spot on this team. He had a few nice plays, a few nice shots, a few nice passes. He looked good as far as how terrible the offense was. The 4 on the 5 on the power play was, I mean, their power play is ridiculously
Yeah.
talented. I don't know. The second they go man up, they're pretty much unstoppable because even it was 4 or 5 on the power play, but they even had a man up delayed penalty
Yep.
that they scored
On the
on
first
a
goal.
set play.
Yep.
It was like, so that right there, though, is 5 of your 9 goals are on a man up opportunity. We've talked about this so much over the year. Like when they get those opportunities, delayed penalties or power play, they're incredible. Like what the plays they're drawing up are just immaculate pretty much, and their execution of them is flawless. But when it's even strength, they seem so lost this year, and they just, again, I think they need to inject a new body into that lineup to do something. Like they just don't seem like they have enough of a spark or enough of an identity on the offense to make enough noise, even strength.
Yeah, and then it goes back to, is it a righty or a lefty that you got to add? And when you do, are you going to go strong lefty or strong righty? Because, like, I love Buchanan on this team. I think he adds an element that they usually don't have. But, I mean, 2 shots in this game. They can't happen. You need your next best option on the right-hand side. No offense to Nanakoke, but Buchanan's been your second best righty on this team so far, and he walks away with no points and 2 shots. It can't happen. I mean, Dane goes 2-2-4 on 10 shots, 5 loose balls, 1 cost turnover. Like Nanakoke and Smith were the only offensive players to me that showed up in this one. Scanlon, no shots on net. Like Benesh, 1, 2, and 3. Like your secondary scoring has evaporated. Like what we saw versus Vegas, where McKay had 3, and I think Bucky had 3 in that one, and I think Nanakoke added a couple. I'm not expecting, and really I think it's unfair to expect them to put in 14, 15, 16 goals a game, but get to 12, like get 11, something around that range. You've averaged,
like with their power play, I know they aren't getting a ton of opportunities, as we've seen 2 games with none,
right.
but like your power play is so elite that those goals should be a great addition to what you're doing on even strength. So you get 7 goals even strength, you're probably ending up with a 10-goal night because your power play is that lethal. Or you get 8 goals even strength, you're ending up with 11 goals because you get 3 on the power play.
And on top of that, like,
every time you're out there.
Nanakoke was the one that drew 2 of those power play opportunities.
Yep.
So, I mean, he was phenomenal in this one. I thought this was his best performance of the year, like you mentioned. But, I mean, beyond that, I mean, was there much else positive on this offense? Like, this is the longest streak, and I'm trying not to harp on this team too much because, again, they've earned the patience from the fan base, even though the fan base is kind of it's going to be very interesting to see if they continue to struggle, like they get a handful of wins here and they sneak into the playoffs, how many bandwagon fans there truly are that jump ship. Like that's what I'm interested in, especially looking forward. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how the not so, like last year, what did they start? Like 7-0, 8-0, something like that. This year, it's been a bit of a struggle to start. I mean, there's still 11 games. Season's not over. Like, we're not hitting the panic button, but we're in the same room and the button's unlocked is what I said the other day. But yeah, this offense, this is the worst 3-game stretch that we've seen from this offense in the 5 years we've covered this team, in my opinion. Like, it has not been good whatsoever. So that's pretty much all I really got. I mean, there were no goals the first 20, 36 of the game. There was a 13-33 gap between goals 4 and 5. How many times have I said this throughout the year that these goal droughts are killing this team? Smith toe barely in the crease. They challenged it, and then the very last angle that they showed on the screen, it looks like his toe kind of like scups it, so he's able to like levitate in the air. It
was really hard to tell, yeah. Like I watched it so many times, it looked like he either didn't touch the crease at all, which would have been really impressive, but another angle looks like he might have. It's, to me, it was too hard to overturn. As much as I hate that inconclusive nonsense, like it was so close to tell if his foot actually hit the ground or not, and I couldn't tell. If it didn't, then heck of a floating, levitating job, and that's easily a goal, but it was too hard to tell if it touched down or not.
Yeah, so we'll switch over to the defense. This was their worst performance by miles, by 5 miles. So I'm not going to harp on them too much because, I mean, they've been versus the Ottawa game, they kept them in the entire time, and the offensive let them down. Rochester, they had 2.5 good quarters, and the offense let them down. Like, this defense has been very, very solid this year. I mean, towards the great part of that, not just solid, very, very solid. Again, go back to the Zach Belter one. He's not the reason. If he was in the lineup, they probably still lose this one, but it's still a head scratcher why he isn't in the lineup on this one. I mean, You activated him. He's clearly healthy. Why is he not in the lineup?
Right.
If he's healthy enough to be activated, he should have been in the lineup over a Whitty or over a Spanger or over a McCannell. Like and that was a head scratcher to me.
Whitty looked rough again.
Yeah, again, 4 block shots, 5 caused turnovers total from this team, and 2 of those 5 caused turnovers were from the forwards.
Finally,
wasn't good enough. And going into this one, you get the news on Friday that Will Malcolm is questionable. And he wasn't questionable the week before, so this was an injury that popped up. And I'm going, oh man, if Will Malcolm's missing this one, like
right.
Buffalo's chances go way up. And then he's ruled out. And I'm like, okay, you got Andrew Q to stop, and you got Jack Hanna to stop. One on both sides. And guess what those players do? Andrew Q goes for 7 and 11 points on 13 shots. I mean, he missed 6 shots. He scored more shots than he missed. Hanna, 2, 7, and 9. Saris goes crazy. McIntosh goes crazy. Is it strange that the righties, I know I'm harping on the Zach Belter fact, but it's still head scratching. The righties are the ones that killed them, going 9, 12, and 21 on 34 shots, where the lefties, yeah, they killed them too, but I mean, up and down, the righties just were like nonstop. 9 goals from those 3 righties. It's just, it was a bad day at the office for the defense. And yeah, maybe adding a Spanger in there, another new body on the back end. Maybe the second game with McConnell, another defensive side back there. Maybe in a couple weeks when Mitch DeSnu comes back, it'll get a bit worked out. But this goes back to what we saw versus the first half of the Rochester game or the Las Vegas game or the Halifax game, where the defense just was not communicating out there. I couldn't tell you how many times that we saw a guy split and was wide open, or a guy was just oblivious to, like the one that we'll go over. Nick Weiss just completely loses McIntosh on like the 18th or 19th goal. He just walks right by him. Like, and you're not even watching. Like, there are so many times where the defensive players were either out of position or just oblivious to what was going on behind him. Again, one horrible game from them after 2 really good games. But man, this was a tough game to watch because they were hanging out their goalies to dry so much. Even the broadcaster said it. Matt Vince, it was like, what, 8-2, 8-3 or something like that? It could have been 14-2 or 3 if Matt Vince wasn't making the saves he was, because like, how do you, I know they scored 20 goals, but how do you put this on the goaltenders when there's so many open shots and the guys are coming open right in front of the net? It's like, it was not fair for either of those goaltenders. And this is one of those times where if you're just looking at the box score, you know nothing about the sport, and you're just watching the game, like, you would put all 20 of those goals on the goalies and say, like, Matt Vince was over the edge, all that kind of crap that we were seeing in the comment section already. Again, like, he should have came back for another year, and Evan C's not the future, and all that kind of stuff. It's from people that aren't actually watching the game and don't realize that not every time the ball goes in the back of the net, it's on the goalie. Because looking at it, I had 2 on Matt Vince. That's it. Like,
yeah.
And even those ones, I think he made the majority of the saves. He just barely gets by him. But man, how many unbelievable saves did Matt Vince make in the first and second quarters to keep them alive? And the defense was just like, we're good. He's making the saves back there. And the offense is like, we're still on vacation mode. We don't need to score. It's just a bad game in this one.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about. And this is why I picked the Bandits to lose. I did not pick them to lose like this. My goodness. But this is what I was worried about. I mean, Colorado is an extremely hot team right now. They were playing at home. Buffalo's coming off the bye. They had to go out west. Like, all of it looked like it could come out to being a very flat, ugly game for Buffalo if they did not generate enough energy and momentum early in the game. And the Colorado came out, went up 3-0, and right there it was over. Like, the offense of Colorado looked very young. It looked very fast, and Buffalo looked very slow and out of sorts. And they just looked like they couldn't keep up. Like, everything Colorado was doing, they looked like they were 10 steps ahead of what Buffalo was doing. And Buffalo was just spinning around with their heads and just had no good idea who to cover. Remember the one goal, there were a few that like stand out to me in my head. And there was one where Priolo was on cue, and he spins off of Q to watch out for like an up pick, and there's nobody behind him, and he just lets Q go, and Q gets a wide open shot and buries it. The other one was Vince's massive.
Yeah, that was goal 2 to make it 2-0.
Yeah, like there's no one there. He's just like, whoa. And again, it's just those little things that, like, normally Priolo's amazing at that, and he will feel that pressure and know somebody's actually there, or know ahead of time. He'll take a quick peek while he's watching Q, and like that, those just those little things that the whole team was off on. And the other one was Vince's really big like punch out save where he got the save, they got the rebound, and passed it to a guy wide open right in the middle. And no, like all the defense is standing perfectly still and just lets him walk right in and buries it by Vince. Like at that point, if I'm Vince, I'm just walking to the like I'm leaving myself. I'm going to the to the bench. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I just felt so bad for Vince. I was happy that they pulled him for the whole second half because he did not need to stay out there and just get what was happening to him. Because, like you said, he played really, really well, and the defense played absolutely horrible and gave him just no support. And like you said, you don't want to harp on this team or on the defense especially because they have been playing really well. This was just a very bad game. I don't know why they came out so flat, and it seems strange that a championship caliber team wouldn't be able to get up for this kind of game, but Colorado was absolutely ready for this game, and they showed it right off the jump, and Buffalo never had momentum and never got it. And I mean, good on McKay, who was trying to fight literally everybody to spark something throughout the game, but most of the team showed just very little interest in winning this game. I mean, I'm not going to say that they gave up right away or anything like that, but it was really, really ugly. And every single time that Buffalo had a smidge of momentum, Colorado would just score right back the next play and just shut it right down. So defense looked bad. And like you said, when Malcolm was out of the game, like I was like, all right, maybe they do have a shot in this one. So just imagining that as well, like all of this happened and Malcolm, arguably the team's best offensive player, wasn't in the game. So that's just a really, really bad look for the defense.
Yeah, that second goal you were talking about was the 11th one where McIntosh gets in. Vince big save on an open Hannah. There's a rebound and McIntosh is wide open because again, that was one of the ones I was talking about.
I know that they're watching other people, but 4 defenders are standing flat-footed watching McIntosh just walk right into a completely like breakaway setup one-on-one. Like, it's like a penalty shot pretty much. And just buries it. Like again, if I was Vince at that point, I'm like, what? Like, I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go over all 20 goals. I'll go over the ones that I thought the goalies should have had. The 7th one, Chaster, Matisse gets picked, and no one really bounces out, but I still think Matt Vince needs to have that one. It was 6-2 at that point. Buffalo had just scored their second goal.
I had Vince on that one as well.
Yeah, Matt Vince let that one in 14 seconds later after Buffalo got their second goal. So
that was probably just payback for the team.
Yeah, it kind of felt like after Buffalo scored that second one, maybe they were going to start getting back into it. Right. But 14 seconds later, Colorado scores that one. The 12th one, Sabres from distance. McCannell just doesn't get out on the pick. I thought Vince needed that one. That was his last one that he let back in again. He came back in after and left after that 12th goal. The 13th one, Q, it was meant to be a pass, and that one just gets by Evan C. I know that was a fluky one that I think it was Dane Smith versus the Ottawa game that he had something similar to that, and that one gets by, but I thought Evan C. would want that one back. And then the final 18, 19, 20th goal, all I felt like Evan C. would want back. It was just the Q one was from distance. The McIntosh one, that was a weak shot. I know it was around Paul Dawson, but that thing was maybe going 40 miles an hour. And then the last one, Saris, was just an absolute meatball that goes through the 5-hole. The biggest issue that I have with Evan C. is with you that size, you need to play a step or two further out of the net, man. Like the majority of the time, he's like right on that goal line and just planted there. I think his best strategy is to play more like Dylan Ward and less like Matt Vince based on your size. You have to come out of the net more. Like, again, I'm not going to harp on Evan Constantopoulos, I believe. Constantopoulos. Thank you. I'm going to butcher that every time. I felt bad for Andy Lindhall because even he goes like, put Matt Vince back in just so I don't have to say this. I was interested to see who was going to be the first victim to have to say his name.
Constantopoulos is
Constantopoulos. Thank you. I'm still going to mess it up. But
that's all right.
That was one of the things that we talked about with Steve Orleman, and everybody was talking about like, well, if Matt Vince gets hurt, your season's over anyways. Or, they had 4 goalies, and I get that situation. I understand them planning for the future as well. But my biggest point was still situations like this, where if you have to pull Matt Vince, is it better to have a Steve Orleman back there or a guy that's not played a single second of NLL action? This was not fair to Evan C. to be put in this situation. His first game on the bench in his 3 years is having to go in here and try to stop the Flames a bit. It was just, to me, this was mismanaged. And I understand the situation they were in with having 2 goalies, and they had to make do with what they had because they believe in both of the young goalies. I get all that. But to me, this was mismanagement of the goalie position by looking too much towards the future and less about the now. I understand if you do not have a goalie, a franchise goalie, you do not have a chance to win a championship. I completely get that. I completely agree with it, and I've said it for 5 years. But it just felt like they mismanaged that position by trading Steve Orleman to a rival that needed a goalie and just elevating Evan C. Like, if maybe this is a blessing in disguise that you got to actually see Evan C. in the league and what he's at and where he is career-wise, that if next year Matt Vince does not return, at least you have a bit of film on what Evan C. does in a unfair situation to him. But that's pretty much all I got with the goalies. I thought Connor Farrell was awful in this one. I don't know how he won 14 faceoffs. I do not think he won 14 faceoffs.
I think even the ones he won, he lost immediately after he won it.
Yeah, I mean,
is the problem.
This is one of the situations why I am against having a Fogo if they're not a dominant Fogo. Like, if you're not winning 55 to 60% of your draws, and even if you do, you're turning it over as much as Connor Farrell has this year. Like, there's been a few games where he's been flawless, where he wins it clean, he finds the right outlet, and he's off the field. But how many times in this one did he win it, he picked it up, and tries to flip it to a guy, and it doesn't go there? Or the old run down the field and take a shot at the net. Like, that's part of the problem that I have with him is the fans get so excited with him going down the field. Like, if you're that excited for a player on the field to go down there and get a shot on net, is he a quality lacrosse player for a team that's adding value right now? Like, this game felt like a game where they would have been better. Again, I'm not putting it all on Connor Farrell. They didn't lose because of him. But it felt like a game where they could have been better off with Ian McKay, Nick Weiss, or Dylan Robinson just mucking it up in the center and having a guy like a Zach Belter in the lineup for more defensive depth. Like, to me, he added nothing in this game. And even the times where he was at the faceoff draw and there was loose balls, it felt like he was on ice skates and couldn't stay on his feet to try to get those loose balls. Like, I'm not trying to harp on these players. I'm not trying to harp on these teams. Nothing I'm saying is personal. Everything is going to be on the film. It just felt like there wasn't much that he added to this game, and I'm shocked it was that close in faceoff draws because it did not feel like it whatsoever.
Yeah, and going up against a rookie in Pilato who made him
he's
look
really good, but
silly.
Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, back to Evan C. real quick. Again, I don't want to take too much from him because he is very young and it was his first game. And again, it's a pretty horrible situation, but even his saves looked
he wasn't confident out there. He wasn't composed. Like,
which is understandable. Like you even said, it's his first game on the bench. So his first game just there. But yeah, he looked rough. Hopefully he continues to get better. He is very, very young, but more importantly, I hope it showed what Matt Vince means to this team. And
yeah, for everybody that wanted to see what the future is, there's a bit of a taste. He's not ready.
And I think it to me also just shows like how much this season means to this team. Like not knowing if Vince or Dawson or any of those guys are coming back. Like I like you and I have full faith that Dietrich will do what he needs to do. He has done it plenty of times. He's not scared to make a move. I think he needs to make one, but I think it needs to be a big one. Like I know we've talked about Buffalo Joe all the time, but even if it's not that, if something else needs to happen, I think they need to make a big one. But I think this is I don't want to say last year because we don't know what the future holds, but it's looking possibly like it could be your last year to push the chips all in. And if that's, no offense to Evan, but if that's what your future kind of looks like, you need to really be pushing this season real hard.
Yeah, the only other thing I got in this one, and I'm not complaining about, don't hear what I'm not saying. The refs did not cause this loss. I thought they were pretty solid in this one. They were stopping a lot of things before they broke into the other shenanigans. And I was ready to come on here and just blast the Bandits for the way they lost it. I thought they lost it. They took the butt whooping and didn't do any stupid shenanigan dirty stuff at the end of the game. Like the whole second half, it felt like they were just taking it and going home. Like kudos to you being able to do that because prior years of
I
Buffalo
was
Bandits,
worried that they were going to just start fighting everybody. I was like, don't.
It would have been
don't.
cheap shots. It would have been trying to get the other team to fight. There was really none of that. The only complaint I have about the entire game for the refs was I still don't understand them making Paul Dawson wait. And again, they were down 12-4, so it didn't matter in the end. So why am I even complaining about this one? But that was really the only time I saw Paul Dawson or the team complain about anything was the ref was holding out a finger like, wait, guys, wait. Like Dylan Ward wasn't in the net. They were making him wait. I know it was a shot clock violation, but how long do you normally have to wait for that? That was like
usually it's instant. I don't understand why they waited. It made
they were
no
like,
sense.
okay, hang on, we got to let them get somebody in net. Wait.
What?
Okay, somebody's in net. Like it that one didn't make any sense. Again, didn't have any factor into the game whatsoever.
But still,
that was just something that stood out to me. Was like it didn't make any sense. Like
even
the refs have been on the hook.
Like yeah, Buffalo has every right to be upset with that because what the heck just happened? Dawson was screaming his head off, but then they even said like at the end of it, like he gave the ref a little like pat on the back or something, like hey, like we're fine, but like what the heck, man? Like it's so many times, and we've talked about this before with other ends to games where the whistle seems just all over the place of when they restart quickly and when they don't restart quickly. Other times, a guy literally has the ball in his stick, is sprinting full speed down the field, and they're just randomly blowing it to restart the play, even though he's already full stride, and it doesn't matter. And then the situations like this where it was a shot clock violation, there was no problem. Dawson had the ball. Not only that, the Colorado player kept inching forward and closer to Dawson to like get in his way, which is also illegal. They have to give them a distance to restart. So that's annoying, but like why the wait? And we've seen it before where there's no wait on those situations. So again, the inconsistencies of what a stoppage really is and why they quick start sometimes and other times they force them to wait like that. And yeah, just, it looked like they were honestly allowing Ward to it was like an NFL, you guys substituted, so the other team gets to substitute. Let's wait till everybody has their correct players on the field, and then you can restart. It made no sense and was very strange. Again, had nothing to do with the final score, but still just the inconsistencies of the game. It was very, very strange.
Yeah. The refs have had a couple bad weeks where missed calls or calls that should have went. So that's just one I wanted to point out. But no milestones. The penalties were all fine. There's really nothing else to add to this dumpster fire of a game.
Again, throw it in the trash and move on.
We'll say this again. We've been doing this 5 years. They've earned our respect and our ability to wait.
The last time they had a 3-game losing streak, they finished the season 11-7.
They went out and got Paul Dawson, and everything turned around, and
they went 5-0 in playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just they have every ability still to finish the season at 11-7, for example.
Yeah.
So settle down. It's okay.
Yeah,
now, if something happens against Philly, that's a different question.
Yeah. So if this is your first time listening to this one, we're not homers, and we're not trying to put any like, you should be better than this. And like, we didn't hit them hard in this game for any other reason, but besides what we saw on the field, we're not overreacting to this loss, and we're not saying that everything's cherry roses. We're calling it how we see it. So hopefully that came across here. So we're not hitting the panic button, but if they lose to Philly, I don't care if it's on a game-winning last-second goal. If you lose to Philly...
Even if they win to Philly and it's in overtime or by 1, like, that's still not good
Philly
enough.
Needs to be your get-right game.
Yes,
it's
100%.
that simple. They allow over 60 shots on net a game. And Nick DeMood is playing unbelievable over 80% I'm not trying to get into the preview already, but I was doing the questions for the guest on Wednesday before this. You need to lay the hammer down on Philly to prove a point, make a noise, and get back to 500. Like, if you come out struggling versus Philly again, I'm going to make a button and hit it here on the next Monday show. But before we dive into Around the League, let's go over our sponsor of this episode, Tap That Tap Room at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. It's Buffalo's first women-owned self-pour bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps. They offer a variety of beers, ciders, sours, seltzers, and malt beverages. Phil, did you see those puppies at the... Oh my God, Phil, there were 7 of them. Oh, I wish I could have gotten there. They look so adorable.
I'm happy you didn't. You would have stolen all
I
of
would
those
have been in
puppies.
there, and then I would have came home with 3 puppies.
PK just would have dove into the puppy cage.
No, I gained weight. That's why I'm so big.
Yeah, there is a big event coming up this weekend that the Buffalo Bills are never a part of, and it's
Never will.
frustrating. Never will be. Their coaching staff is horrible. But the Super Bowl is still a party. It's a great time to go drink your sorrows away, eat delicious food, and why not do it at Tap That Tap Room on February 8th. They are going to get it started at 6:30 p.m. All 6 TVs are going to have the game on with the sound, drink discounts all night to make drinking your sorrows away even easier. You can watch the Patriots hopefully get blown to shreds and do it well at
Don't
Tap That
throw it
Tap
on
Room.
first down. Don't throw it on first down, Seattle. Or on
Yeah.
the 1 yard line.
Yeah, please don't. Just run it.
Give it to Marshawn.
But yeah, go to Tap That Tap Room and to find out what other events they have coming up. They have a few others coming up pretty soon. So to find out more information, you can go to their Facebook page, and to find out what's on tap and what's on deck, you can head to tapthattaproom.com.
Phil, let's go over week 10 real quick. 40 minutes in. We still got a lot of games to go over. Saskatchewan just continues their dominance of the league, moving to 7-1 with a 14-8 win over Calgary, who decided not to show up in the back half of this game. Calgary actually led 3-0 to start the game, and then 7 straight by Saskatchewan. Oh man, I'm going to say that again. Saskatchewan to take a 7-3 lead at half. It was 10-6 after 3. Zach Mans went nuts. Keenan. This was a game to me that the offense was like, we've heard all the news about we didn't have an 80-point scorer last year, and we had 4 guys in the 70s. We're going to have 4 guys in the 90s this year because Mans had 7, Keenan had 7, Church had 8, and Shanks had 9. This was an utter floor wiping of Saskatchewan to kind of just like, we can start 3, like give us a 3-goal deficit to start a game, and we'll show that we can still outscore you and just beat. Like, to me, I know how good Colorado is, and I'm not downplaying them whatsoever. To me, this is Saskatchewan's title to lose right now. Like, going into week 11, I don't think there's anybody that can touch Saskatchewan in terms of forwards, defense, transition, goaltending, coaching. Like, they might not be the best in any one category, but on average, all those pieces are number 1 in the league to me.
Yeah, they're above average in every category,
Yes.
even if they're not number 1.
They don't have any deficiencies.
Right. And they showed that. They also outshot them 63-34, which is insane. I said in the preview there really wasn't much to talk about with this game because Saskatchewan just going to roll, and roll they did. My goodness, they look really, really good.
So we'll move on. I got a 5-goal buffer now. Thank you, Philly. I'm very afraid to have our guest on the show on Wednesday if he listens to this show at all. San Diego wins 13-7. Philly actually led 4-2 after 1, and then 10 straight goals by San Diego until the 12:21 mark left in the fourth quarter when Philly got some pity goals. I was watching the game with Brooke next to me after our soccer game, which we were down 3 goals with 5 minutes to go, and we tied it 6-6. It was insane finals. We scored with 2 seconds to go. Sorry. Sidetrack there, but we were watching that game and Philly put in like 3 and I'm like, God, no. And she's like, what, did you have Philly? I was like, no, but I got this bold prediction. And I was like, just let them not, like if they would have finished with 4 goals, it would have been so much nicer, but they got a 5-goal buffer for me. But San Diego's back over 500. I know 2 of their games were versus Philly, and I think the real test is going to be next week when they face somebody other than Philly. What does the San Diego team look like? But Zach Currier right now, and I know we went over the early awards, and I kind of blanked on Zach Currier being an actual person. To me, if it's not Brett Dobson, I think Zach Currier has to be one of the finalists for MVP this year. He needs to be at least nominated so people can vote for him for MVP this year, you stupid idiots last year. But Zach Currier, 2, 3, and 5 as a two-way player in 16 loose balls. He's not a face-off man, Phil. 16 loose balls is not a face-off man. It's San Diego. I want to see what they look like versus a team that's not Philly, but getting back over when you started 1-3 is a really good spot to be in.
Yeah, I don't really think to me yet that they're going to be like a title contender, but they're absolutely on the way up and can be a playoff team. And they're going to be a team that, as of right now, Buffalo is fighting for a playoff spot, which is wild to say with the Bandits, but they're under 500 and they're going to be, they're looking up at a lot of the league right now. And San Diego could be one of those teams that it comes down to at the very end. Hopefully Buffalo finds a way to get right and strings a bunch of wins together, but that's what San Diego's doing right now, and they're doing a good job of it.
So before I say this, I want to apologize to Mackie Jenner and Pat Gregoire. I apologize. But for Buffalo Bandits fans out there, if you're feeling bad, just look at Halifax and you'll start feeling better. Georgia wins 11-7. Halifax continues to falter. They fall to 3-5. They score 7 goals. It was 2-2 after one, 7-6 Georgia at half. That means Halifax scored 1 goal in the second half. Their offense is broken, and I don't know what they can do to fix it. Like I thought Dawson Thie going out the door to open the spot for Mike Robinson to be out there with Will McLeod would fix it. They're missing Thomas Hogarth so much that I don't think us or very many people mentioned how big of a loss that was going to be. I don't even think they understood how big of a loss it was going to be, but I think this is more of a story of Georgia's legit and Halifax is faltering. I think that's the storyline of this game.
Yeah, Georgia is proving that they have enough of a team to do what they need to do to get wins behind the ridiculous.
You said it like 2
or
or 3 weeks ago. You score 10 goals, you're probably going to win the game.
And they're proving that they have the offense to do that. I mean, even in this game, they win 11-7 and Lyle has 1 goal. So if you can do that with your arguably best offensive player, should be your best offensive player on the team, getting 1 goal and you're getting 10 from other sources, that's really, really good. Nolan Byrne looks incredible. He's shown a lot of flash. Really wish I don't think the Bandits had a chance at him, or would have taken him, but a burn on Byrne would have been a lot of fun for the Bandits. And yeah, he right now is looking really, really good. But Georgia, again, I mean, they are doing what they need to do to win. I mean, Halifax won the faceoffs 19-2, and they lost the game 11-7. Just gonna sneak that in there.
Don't go over any of the other face-offs this week, though, Phil. It didn't really work out. Saturday, 7 p.m., Vancouver takes down Rochester 16-6.
That's a weird game.
The bigger story in this one is the quick early ejection by Ryland Hartley. This is the games you play when you have Ryland Hartley in net. He goes rogue. Absolutely destroyed Steph Charbonneau. I really hope he's okay. That was, quote unquote, letter of the law. That was a clean hit. But the rule states he was a defenseless guy. Like, you can't do that. Like, everybody's showing the highlights of Alex Bouquet a couple years ago and pretty much ended the guy that he hit's career. You can't do it. Like, I get that you do not want that goalies to have the outlet passes. Like, you were trying to make a statement. I get it. You don't want to have, like, you don't want to, it happened in the first quarter. So I'm assuming that he was making a statement of, if you come down here, this is what's going to happen. Similar to what players do when players dive through the crease. You're going to pay the price. But to me, this is a next level of something that can't happen. I'm one of the biggest Ryland Hartley fans out there. But you got to call it out like I see it. I think this was a bad decision by a very great goaltender that negatively hurt their team. I believe, and don't quote me on this one, I'm not positive, I didn't look into it, but I believe it's an automatic 1-game suspension, and latest I saw was they were possibly looking at a 3-game suspension for him. That means next week when there's the rematch, Hartley ain't going to be there. Rochester goes from 4-2 to 4-3, and now they might be missing their starting goaltender for 3 more games if the suspension goes through. So Rochester goes from one of the more dangerous teams in the league to one that's looking at their next few games going, can we steal a couple games here? Like it's not a good time to be a Rochester Nighthawk fan.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say is, like, not only is the play not great, and I get it. Like, even one of our buddies mentioned, like, the hit and everything, exactly what you said. I think knowing how Vancouver plays, this was in his mind before the game even started, that as soon as there's a big outlet pass for a breakaway, he's coming out and he's sending a message. Like, I get that idea, but because you got ejected, because you did it in the manner you did, now you set your team up for failure against a really good team, especially because it's in the first quarter. Again, you're sending a message, but now you're gone for that game, possibly more games. Like you said, Hartley's great. He's a really good goalie, but these decisions he's got to take out of his game a little bit. Like, that was too much and now you've hurt your team a lot. And if he gets that 3-game suspension, this team could be flipped upside down pretty quickly. Yes, they still have a really good offense. Yes, they can steal some games most likely, but that's not a situation you want to be in. Like, this is a team that's looking at a title, and they need their goalie to be in there and just be smarter. And as a league, I feel like because goalies have so much padding, because they can see those plays from so far away, I would assume they want to drop the hammer on this a little bit to get that out of the game as much as possible, because goalies could do that all the time if they wanted to. Again, they're seeing the play way, they have a much bigger distance of what they're seeing on a play like that. They have all the padding, so if they go out there and crush someone, they're not getting impacted. He's not even
looking forward. He's looking behind him for the ball.
He's looking behind him trying to catch the pass. So to me, I could see the NLL putting the 3 games on this and saying, goalies, this isn't appropriate. Don't do this. Like, you're going to injure someone. You're going to end someone's career. This is unacceptable. So it'll be interesting to see, but I could see them trying to drop the book on this one.
Yeah, I could see it. It's, from what I saw and what I've heard, it's at least 1 game because of the automatic game misconduct, but I can see 3. I think the other story here is I want to see Vancouver next week as well, and I guess they're probably going to go against Hutchcraft again, but the offense looks a little bit better here. Keegan Ball, 11 assists, 13 points, so pretty good. I got this one wrong. Toronto just embarrassed Ottawa, and now Ottawa goes from a team that upset Buffalo to now back-to-back weeks of bad losses, 17-10 versus Toronto. This is what we've been waiting for Toronto for all season. Like, you need your veteran pieces to step up. Dowick goes home with 4 points, Bushi 5 goals, Rogers 7 points, Matthews 9 assists and 11 points. Like, your rookies were contributing, and Kurse getting 6 and Hiltz getting 5, but your veterans were carrying the load, and this was what we've been asking for from them through 6 games, and they finally see it in Game 7. And Holochuk, very good game. This whole defense was very, very solid, holding Ottawa's dangerous offense to what they did. 2 goals, 9 shots only. I thought overall Toronto had a very, I think this was their best performance of the season.
And not trying to panic for Buffalo, but it doesn't look good when Ottawa beats them and then drops 2 pretty bad games to other teams. Like, it just showed, like, okay, Buffalo, why couldn't you do this against that same team, same roster? And Ottawa went out there and looked like the better team. So not a great look for Buffalo, but it is a good look for Toronto. Like you said, like, they've been hanging in there. They have the record they do because of their young guns, their defense, and their goaltending. But to see their veterans finally put it together and look the way they did, this is the kind of game that you're hoping for. And yes, like, as much as you just talked about the veterans, the rookies, I mean, Kurse still 2-4-6, Hiltz 2-3-5. This is the offense you want. You want your veterans driving it, but your rookies being some great secondary pieces and great secondary scoring. And that's what the whole picture looks like with this team. If they can keep that up, they're a team that I can start believing in a lot more, but I'm going to need to see it for more than 1 game. But if that's something that they can put together, them in playoffs, they're going to be a very tough out.
Final game, and Vegas ends Oshawa's season 16-13. It was tied until the final whistles, like 4 minutes left in the game, I believe it was. Vegas scores the final 3. The biggest story in this one, Chase Frazier leaves. I believe he got carried off the field. It sounded like a knee injury. Not good for them, but I mean, Kell's another good performance. This was a must-win game from Oshawa after a must-win game last week and a must-win game the week before. They fall to 2-7. Half their season is over. Like, I don't know how you dig out of this with what does the playoffs look like right now. Like, I think every team that's currently in a playoff spot has a winning record, and you're sitting 2-7, and every team pretty much has a game in hand over you. I think Vegas is a team that if they get even average goaltending, they can beat anybody in the entire league based on this offense that we're seeing. But if Chase Frazier's out any extended amount of time, you're going to need like a guy like Kyle Killen, who stepped up in this going with 5 points, to step up even more. But Oshawa, man, I think, I don't know how you can sell off because the team is so young, but this is back-to-back years after a finals run where you got hot and nobody was expecting it. Now, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to fire Glenn Clark as GM or head coach. Some kind of shakeup needs to happen because Dawson Teed didn't fix it. So I don't know what their next step
And
is,
he
but
did
they're
a
so
great game.
they don't even have like Jameson, 47 to 62 saves. Like it's not goaltender. He's one of the best goaltenders in the league. I don't know what Oshawa can do besides move one of these young pieces and kind of break up the core. And that seems more like an off-season move than an in-season move. So they might be stuck with what they got this season.
And again, I mean, you just moved a first-round pick for Thied. So, I mean, Thied had a great game. Like this isn't Thied put 3, 4, and 7 on the board. Like he did the best he could for that team. But again, talking about Buffalo and not wanting to feel too bad about where they're at, look at Oshawa and their talent they have on that team, the way they started the season. Like the defense looked amazing, and then the offense wasn't there. And now the offense is there. And even though Jameson's still playing well, they're letting in too many goals all of a sudden. And they just, again, I talked about it in the preview, they just cannot seem to put both halves of their team together for one game to make it work. And it's very strange because all the pieces are there to make it work, but they just can't seem to. And that's, I think, like you said, with how young they are, I don't know what you do. I think you just got to ride this out, and whatever happens this year happens. And then next year, start over again and hope for a better result. Like everything seems on paper like that team should be maybe not the best in the league or anything, but a decent playoff team. Like they have the pieces, they have the goaltending to be a good team, and they just cannot seem to put it together at the same time. And Vegas, wild, but they are sitting above Buffalo right now. So good for them putting it all together. They went out in the offseason, did what they had to do. Like you said, Fraser being out for an extended period of time would be a pretty big blow to this team, but their offense and that team looks scary. And again, I was thinking about this with Buffalo and how they just got shellacked by Colorado, that I have less confidence in them this year in a one and done game. And that scares me the most in playoffs. And Vegas right now is a team that I don't think you want to see in a one and done, where if they just have a big offensive game, you might not be able to keep up with them.
Yeah. Before the season, we do our predictions. You and I both had Calgary and Philly at the bottom. We're nailing that so far. I think the rest of it is just in shambles. Like we were saying, we have no idea, and this might be the best unified standings have ever looked because there's so much parity. I don't even think we understood how much parity there would be in this league besides two teams.
I mean, you got Colorado number 2, Georgia number 4, Toronto 5, San Diego 6, Las Vegas 7, Rochester 8, then Ottawa, Buffalo, and then Halifax, Oshawa, Wings, Roughnecks. Like that top 8 is, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Saskatchewan is the only one that actually is, well, Saskatchewan and Vancouver are the two that are putting it together. And other than that, it's been all over the place.
Yeah, if this is your first season with the following the league, welcome.
Yeah,
we don't know who's good, and everybody's pets' heads are falling off. It's insane of a league. But we'll wrap this one up. We'll go over Wings versus Bandits on the Friday show. Buffalo, you better stinking win. You do not want to hear an angry PK. It might be the first time PK has ever ranted about the Buffalo Bandits on this show. If you lose to Philly, you don't want to be a part of that on Monday. Sabres, 2 games to go over. Thursday, they win 4-1. Tuck got the Hattie. It's the third Sabres hat trick in January. Lyon got his 10th straight win. That is a franchise record. And then Saturday, they lose to Montreal in a game they probably wanted to win. They lose 4-2. Power and Ostlund were the goal scorers. Lyon started this one, so his first loss in 10 starts. Again, goes back to power play. Power play is an issue. I didn't mind the loss versus Montreal. I thought they played really well. Montreal's goaltender was just really, really good. You got depth scoring from Ostlund and Power. It's one of those times where you got 3 games until the Olympic breaks. You're still in a playoff spot right now, but you're looking at the overall standings. You got a 6-point gap between you and who's missing the playoffs. But out of that, it's just so there's top heavy, there's bottom heavy, and then there's Rangers in the dumpster. Between the playoff spots, it's 5-point difference. But between the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams fighting for it, it's a 3-point gap. There's the fighting to try to get into one of the last spots, but you got to get 6 more points to get in. It's Buffalo's in the perfect spot right now. that you still have the buffer, but you can't let any of these games go. And you got 3 big ones coming up between Florida, Tampa Bay, and Pittsburgh. Those are 3 massive games. Tampa Bay, you're still chasing. You're 5 points back of them, but I believe in this back half of the stretch,
right,
you got 4 games versus them to finish up the season.
It's a lot.
There's Sabres, while they have played 54 games, so they got 28 games left. You got a bunch of like legit threats right behind you, and you can't drop one to Florida on Monday night because they're behind you. That gives them a boost there. You got Tampa Bay in front of you, and Pittsburgh is in the other conference trying to stay in the playoffs as well. So I think stealing they went on a 5-game winning streak, 6-game winning streak, something like that. They drop one versus Montreal. I think you want 4 out of 6 points going into this Olympic break, because then you're coming out of the Olympic break 57 games in, you got 25 games to go. This Olympic break is coming at the worst possible time, Phil. Like, you do not want this team to go on break, because that's 20 days for them to think about it, overanalyze, and then get back on the ice. This is going to be 20 days of me thinking, Darlene better not get hurt. Tage better not get hurt over there. Like, it went from being excited to watch them in the Olympics to holding your breath every time they're on the ice, because if something happens to them, Buffalo's going to riot over the entire world because the Olympics is stupid. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Maybe hold them out. Just pick up some kind of nagging injury in the last game.
They got a hairline fracture,
right.
But don't tell anybody there's just a piece of hair on the picture of the X-ray. Just like there's a hairline fracture.
For every player they're sending to the Olympics. Yeah, that's a lot of hairline fractures.
Yeah, something's going on.
This is what we've talked about a lot with this team, and the hole they dug themselves in early. Like, everything they've been doing is really, really great, and everything looks really good, but every loss now is massive because of where you started the season. And even a team like the Blue Jackets, they're sitting at 61 points. That's not great. They're 9-1 in their last 10, and they're on a 5-game win streak. Like,
it's insane.
Every team is trying to catch up with you, and any team at any moment can go on these massive runs, just like the Sabres did. So you can't take the foot off the pedal at any point. Like you said, the end of their season looks pretty scary. They got the Knights a few times. They got Tampa a lot. They have a lot of really big games against really good teams to end the season. So can they do it? Sure. But you cannot take another night off. And like you said, losing that Montreal game, that's a big loss. And I agree with you. I don't think they looked bad. I think that Ostlund goal looked like a lot of fun. They looked like they were playing really well. Like, that was a really exciting goal for them to get. I don't think they looked bad or outmatched or anything like that, but you got to keep winning, and that's not going to be easy to do.
Yeah. They've been on an unbelievable stretch. I believe, they've got like 20 wins in 25 games or something like that.
It's now like 24-1, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane, the stretch they're going on.
But
just
you
can't let up.
do it to end the season too.
Yeah, they just can't let up.
Again.
If they keep, and I love Tuck's comments the other day of, we're not just trying to make the playoffs, we're trying to win a cup. I love the confidence, but you haven't been in the playoffs in 14 years. Maybe settle that down a bit. Again, even during the 10-game winning streak, I was saying I want to see what happens after that. What happens when you lose 1 in a row? How do you respond? I want to see how they respond after a 20-day break of this Olympics. Like, these next 3 games are vastly important, and we'll be able to go over 2
yourself in a really
3.
good position before this break.
Yeah, you set yourself up for a fantastic 25-game stretch, because if the Bandits lose versus the Wings, and you go on a 20-day bye, and it's just Bandits, and they keep struggling like this, PK's going to ram his head through the computer screen, because the Buffalo Sabres will have siphoned all the good graces from all of their Buffalo sports teams. Like, I was over at my parents' house the other day, and my dad was like, yeah, after the Olympic break, they're going to struggle. I was like, no, they can't, because they siphoned all the good juju from the Bills. They're siphoning all the good juju from their in-house roommate and the Bandits. Like, I'm interested to see what happens after that, but you got 3 big games before that. We'll be able to go over 2 more, but we're right around a little over the hour mark, Phil. Is there anything else to add to this episode before we shut it down and get a nervous week of Philadelphia Wings out of our system here?
Yeah. For now, don't panic about the Bandits. They're okay. Hopefully they should be okay. Throw this game in the trash. It's all right. They're allowed to lose, and they're allowed to start slow. They've done it before, and they've won championships in the same year. So don't panic, but we'll see what happens with this Philly game. After that, we'll see how we feel.
Yeah, I was going to say, clip that until We'll see if they lose to Philly. We're going to go back and listen to that and see if Phil's tone has changed at all. But I do agree, it's not panic in the streets yet, but the true fans that have been through the Bandits' ups and downs for years will stick around. You might just be seeing a bunch of bandwagon fans kind of jump ship and go elsewhere for now. That's the benefits and the disadvantages of a sport.
Parking will be easier.
Yeah, yes, 100%. You're going to be able to park. You're going to be able to leave a little bit earlier to these games if they keep struggling here. But hopefully that is not the case. Hopefully they bounce back. And I have full confidence, at least by saying this, Steve Dietrich will go down swinging. It's not like a Kevin Adams. He's not going to not make any moves for.
Hey, Kevin Adams built a heck of a team.
Yeah, this is going to be Steve Dietrich going down swinging, not just sitting on his hands. Again, by the time this is out, I wouldn't be shocked if there's already a move made, even though that would be very unlikely because this will be out in about an hour. We will wrap this up by thanking everyone for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Next, again, Phil's article will be out on Tuesday, buffalosportscollective.com for that. We got an interview coming out to help preview Wings versus Bandits coming out on Thursday. We got NLL Pick'em and Power Rankings out on Thursday. Remember, you can vote on X Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Tuesday and Wednesday on Instagram for the Pick'ems. You can keep pushing me further and further in the dumpster. I am in last place by a long shot. And then Friday is our preview show. Next episode, Bandits versus Wings preview, and we'll be able to go over 2 of the 3 games for the Buffalo Sabres. So that wraps up this episode. Thank you to Tap That Tap Room for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. We only had 3 milestones for the Bandits. I posted both of them. None of them happened, so we'll be back next week. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Phil's article on Tuesday. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. Until next week, don't lose to Philly. Bye-bye.